Hi everyone, this is Jyotsna Hegde with NRI Pulse. Today we have with us Rashmi Singh, who is running for Johns Creek City Council Post 2. Hi Rashmi, welcome to NRI Pulse.
Hi Jyotsna, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Sure. Rashmi, your website, describes you as a mother, a wife, a program manager, and tech consultant. But you are also a survivor of domestic abuse and a mother of a special needs child. So please tell us about your journey and how all of this led you to run for city council.
All right then. So I immigrated many decades ago, right? So initially when I came to US, I was in a domestic abusive situation. At that point, I had two young children. Both my children who are older, of course, now, were young children then. So I had to figure out a way to get myself out of, extract myself out, and of course my children out, because that wasn't an ideal environment for any of us. So what I figured out is how to put myself through school, provide for myself and my children. So I went actually and I got a master's in information science. It was a journey for me. It has been a journey. And my my life journey is not, has had, it's ups and downs. Yeah. So, you know that those are, lumps and bumps, right? So
you've had more bumps along the way, I can see.
So that is, so I had to figure out many times how to do things, right? How to advocate for self or advocate for my child or do other things of that nature. So I then put myself through school. I got a master's in information science, and then I started working for one of the largest tech companies. I really enjoyed that work. I've done this for 21 years now, and I've thoroughly enjoyed and very successful at it. I've had multiple leadership positions, and I've learned a lot. I really like what I do for a living, and I enjoy it. So then what happened is we moved to Johns Creek. My husband and my youngest, we moved to Johns Creek. And just going back really quick to a special needs child, right? My 16-year-old is a special needs child. So what I had to figure out with him was how to advocate, because his needs are different than a normal child. So through the school system, though, however great the school systems are, and they all have good intention and they will help you, there's advocating that's required for a special needs child. You have to figure out a number of things that you don't for other children. So I learned that. I've successfully done it. He now advocates for himself. He is actually a very good advocate. He will go up to the right people, he will ask the right question, tell them the right problems. And he actually is, my son is my campaign manager.
Wow.
So he has been.
He's the one that's your campaign manager?
He is my campaign manager.
Wow.
Yeah. And he is very actively involved in different things. He's been, in the last, I would say a few years, he's become very active in things he believes in. And with that, he's able to help me with a number of things, and which he's doing. So he's my campaign manager right now. He advocates for himself at school and does, doing very well.
Wow.
When we moved to Johns Creek, right? We moved to Johns Creek 4 years ago. We fell in love with this community. It's a diverse community, really like the schools here. And as I got here, I then started working with the HOA. So I'm in the board of directors. I'm one of the board members for the HOA. I love that work. I also then I'm a chair of the landscape committee, and I love working with the community. I have, worked with a great group of people as board of directors, and we do, we give it our best and do great work. We get along, we collaborate, and it's a very good atmosphere to work. A bunch of people, right, to work with. So that is essentially my journey. So as I looked at this, right, I look at different things that I have been doing. Again, my work experience, my HOA experience, my life experience. I put all of that together in when I look at what a city council does, I think it's a perfect match, because I have a lot of experience in consulting, program managing. I've done budgeting, implementation, strategy, innovation. Those are all things you have to do. And you also have to learn how to collaborate, because it's very important if you're going to move something forward. art of collaboration, or working with the right group of people, or working correctly with the right group of people helps a lot. So that's essentially is my journey.
Well, so why exactly are you running for council?
So, I've always liked to contribute to the community I live in. As I see my son grow up, as I see, the younger generation contribute, and as I look at my experience, I think I can contribute a lot. I can bring diverse set of ideas, a diverse set of voice and diverse set of ideas, because my experiences may be slightly different than others. I've worked in private sector. I have life experience, which is different than others, gives me a better understanding of number of things. My life experience plus my work experience, I think gives me a background where I'm able to do certain things that maybe, others they don't understand it that well. So that is why I think, I'm trying to contribute. I want to contribute to the community I live. And I think it would be a very good experience for me doing this. And then I think we all need to leave the place, right, better than when we come to some place, leave it better than it was. So I'm trying to do that also for my children, for other children, making sure the community is better and we are all moving forward in a positive environment, collaborating with each other and hearing diverse voices.
So what are your priorities for Johns Creek, Rashmi?
So I have some idea. I have actually many ideas, but some of my ideas are short-term, others are long-term. Right. The short-term ideas, I can see some process improvements, and some of this is going to be very simple. Better communication between departments, better communication, say example, with HOAs. Some of these things can be solved just by coming up with a communication plan that works for everyone. And the departments are working really well. However, there's just minor modifications or tweaks in the process that needs to take place. Those minor modifications are going to help everyone. We all will communicate better with each other and move things forward much quicker. Because I already just working with the HOA and as a landscape committee chair, I can see I have many ideas of how things can be better there. The other projects, the other platforms that I'm advocating for, one, of course, is quality of life, right? So as you know, municipal election, we deal with municipal issues only. National politics doesn't play a role here. So quality of life issues is one, safety and security for all, transparency in government and bringing economic boost to the city. So town center, legacy center, making sure we have sidewalks in the right places for the right people, and making sure we have good parks and rec department that works for everyone, especially, with the large park that's coming up. We want to make sure we have a parks and rec department managed by the city. So I want to look into it more, see if that is feasible, possible, how that can be accomplished. Safety and security, we just want to make sure we all want to feel safe in the community we live in. We want to make sure we're providing enough support for the people who provide a safety and security, which is the police, fire, make sure they have enough resources, they have training, they have the right equipment, because without that, of course, they can't do their job. So we need to make sure they have all what they need to do their job. And, economic boost, right? We need to do, this pandemic has impacted small businesses. It has, many of them have lost revenue. Many of them are impacted by not being able to find workers, though we have a Chamber of Commerce. Chamber of Commerce is, requires a fee. You have to join it, and the fee could be anywhere from $500 upwards, which might be a challenge and a hardship for some businesses, especially if they're suffering. So we got to come up with ideas of how to provide a boost to the businesses, highlight them. And I see some of that's already happening, but we need to make sure we're focused on that, and that's happening. We're still moving that in the right direction. And then transparency in the government. It's very important to know where the tax dollars are being spent. And some of it is easy information to find, some of it is not. So I want to look to see what groundwork can be laid down, so we all feel comfortable. Okay, here are the tax dollars, and they are being spent, as they were promised, or being spent after evaluation and thorough due diligence. So that's essentially my,
Really?
my priorities.
Mhm. So what is your favorite part about living in Johns Creek?
So really, this is a great community. When we came here, we felt so welcome, right? And it's really diverse. And, there's a lot of options, say, for example, for restaurants. My husband loves Indian food.
Mhm.
For him, this is just a place he loves. He has so many options. He has his favorites. And that's not really, that's not available. I really love the schools. I work with I have to work with the schools one-on-one because of my son, but I really love the schools. It's a, very good quality education. And my son really loves the schools he has gone to. All in all, it's a very great community. We just need to make sure, right, we're doing the right things, moving the city forward, keeping it growing, without, of course, impeding whatever progress we made. And it just will continue to grow and thrive. It's a very great community to live
in. Yes, well, we are in Alpharetta. We're just the borderline. So yeah, I
in. Yes.
agree. So, Rashmi, what according to you is the biggest challenge that the city faces, and how would you address that?
So a few of the challenges, right? Um, Lack of collaboration seems to me in city council. And then, I know healthy debate is necessary, but lack of collaboration sometimes seems like it's impeding progress. So instead of focusing on the issue itself, the focus is elsewhere. So I think we need to do maybe a better job of collaborating amongst each other, the city council does, and that way we can focus on the projects at hand and things we need to do to move city forward, right? I think what we all need to do, we are all, as we say, stewards are of, children's future. So we want to live the city, this and any other place, right, better with, efficient governance, right? You have to be efficient, you have to be effective, and provide that kind of governance. And I understand bureaucracy. I understand. I work with different sectors, so I know some things can be moved forward quickly. Some things require more thorough evaluation and due diligence, and time needs to be spent. I understand all of that, right? But we got to come up with ways in which we can move things forward and maybe at the right pace for that will help us all and benefit us all.
Well, Johns Creek has, a very diverse population, as you mentioned earlier, right? So how do you think, what is the impact of diversity on a city like Johns Creek?
I think what diversity does, it brings a rich, culture and rich, ideas. We all have different ideas. We come from different backgrounds. We all have different ideas. And it just brings a diversity of ideas and diversity of opinions and voices. And that's very important and that's very healthy, because then it just grows us all. And I think that's one of the reasons Johns Creek is such a great place to live is because it's so diverse. We all there's a lot to learn from each other, and we learn from each other, and we all grow. So that is one of the reasons. Even in schools and such, there's a lot of diverse population of children who goes to school, who goes, my son's schools. It's a diverse population, and it just is a rich set of ideas, diversity, culture that comes into play with diversity. So it is very important. It is important for anyone to grow or a place to grow, I believe.
Sure. Well, now, we are living in the COVID situation right now, which is affecting kids in particular. So I would like to know your sort of take on, the mask mandates and vaccination mandates. What is your take on that?
So COVID is like unlike anything else we have seen before, right? It's unprecedented. There's no precedence for it, of course. So I understand people have feelings about vaccination. People have feeling about their right to choice. But in the long run, what we need to do is we need to make sure we are taking care of this as a community. As we know, COVID is contagious. There's a different, strains that keep coming up, more contagious strains that keep coming up. So we have to have multiple layer of prevention. And mask is a layer of prevention. Children, of course, cannot be at this time vaccinated. So we need to protect them, and we need to protect the elderly, and we need to protect each other. So this is a disease that requires the whole community to participate. And then we also need to make sure that we're giving relief to hospitals and our medical professionals. And to do all of that, right, I'm completely in understanding, or I understand completely, where people have opposition to, or they have one view on this versus the other. But when we look at this as a whole, we all need to do our part, because we have to put multiple layers of prevention, protection for children, for each other. And unless we do that, this is not going to go away, because new strains are going to keep coming up. And we of course want this to be, most of us want this to be over, right? And for that, we need to make sure we're taking proper precautions. And so vaccination plays an important role in it. Masks provide, an added layer of prevention and protection for most of us.
As a woman, who's running for city council, so what do you think, do you think a woman's perspective adds more value to any, authoritative position?
I think women have a different perspective. They approach things differently. So that, diversity of voice and opinion needs to be in different levels of government. It needs to be everywhere, right? It actually needs to, we need to have that in leadership. If we have that in leadership, we'll see a different kind of leadership. And we also will see that, there is another perspective. So it is a very important perspective to have. And I do believe that in local government, there is not enough representation of a diverse voice, of a diverse opinion. And I think that is needed, because we as women do approach things differently. We have a different perspective. We are able to do certain things, differently. We are, I don't know, many people say better multitaskers.
Yes.
So there are things we are very good at, and we need to put them to use, because there is no reason we can't lead. There is no reason we cannot provide our perspective and add value to anywhere, right? It could be private sector, public sector, governance, local municipal election, wherever it might be. We bring just a whole wealth of knowledge, experience, and perspective with us.
Absolutely. So Rashmi, tell us, why should the people of Johns Creek vote for you?
All right, so we can all agree that we need strong and effective leadership. I have held various leadership positions. I've worked in strategy, implementation, planning, done all of that. I have the work experience, the life experience, and the community service experience. I do want to serve and contribute. I do believe that we are the stewards for the city, and we need to leave the city better for our children. We all have a common goal, and the common goal is to have effective and efficient governance. So having said all of that, what I'm asking everyone to do is support a minority candidate like me. Because if minority communities don't go out and vote, a minority candidate like me cannot win. If I were to win this election, I would be the first Indian American in the state of Georgia to have won any elected office, who would have won any elected office ever, because that has yet not happened in state of Georgia. I think it's time to change that. I think I have the right skill set. I have the right attitude. I have the right aptitude, and we can go ahead and make this happen. I, of course, want support of everyone in the community, but I'm specifically asking the minority communities to go out and vote. And vote. There are a number of ways you can vote. You can do absentee ballot, you can do early voting, and you can vote on November 2nd. Whichever way you choose and do, municipal elections typically have a low turnout rate, and that impacts someone like me who's running. So I am hoping you all will go out and vote. You have any questions on anything, you can find my webpage and contact me that way. So I hope you all go out and vote for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rashmi. Thank you for talking to NRI Pulse.
Thank you, Jyotsna. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.